It's that time again! It's the Berkey and the Badger! Board Game Babble Show! It's gonna get wild, it's gonna get wacky, it might even get a little zany! We're gonna talk about board games and the board game industry! And, you know, we might talk about anything else we want to talk about!
Hey!
Whoa! Hello,
Way
Berkey.
to go! How's my friend Badger?
I'm pretty well, my dear good man over there with a funny hat. I'm going to have to get some hats. I'm feeling left out here. I'm feeling hatless.
You could get one of those Frigman Freeze hats. Oh, he's got a Stronghold hat.
Ooh, I'm just going to put a box lid on my head, I think. There we go. If you're watching this live, hello and welcome to the Berkey and Badger Board Game Babble Show. If you're listening to the audio podcast, you're missing out on my wonderful hat that I have on, and probably wondering what that squeaky noise is, and it's my squeaky chair. So he's Berkey over there. Kevin, Mr. Butter Those Chestnuts Meyer.
That's pretty close.
That's pretty
And my
close.
good friend Barry in the doghouse. I'm just calling him Lefty nowadays.
Yes, I'm still in a sling.
He's still in a sling, but man, he's running buttons like crazy.
Oh yeah, I'm getting, my left hand is getting better at everything, and when I say that, I mean everything. PG.
And we have our special guest, Robin Lees, joining us all the way from Denmark. Welcome, Robin.
Hi guys, thanks for having me on.
There you go. Robin Lees has a podcast called Whose Line Is It Anyway? Whose Turn Is It Anyway? Oh dear.
Whose turn is it anyway? Well, we got a lot of stuff to cover, so I think we're just going to kind of get right into some things. But before we just jump into it, what you been up to, Barry?
Well,
How's your New Year's?
my celebrating the new year, that's what I was doing in grand old fashion of falling asleep on the canopy on the sofa after a couple of bottles of champagne. Yes, in the dark, alone, not alone.
Couple bottles, huh?
A couple of bottles. There's still half a bottle still stuck out on the windowsill, keeping fresh. What about you, my dear chap?
Yeah, I had a great time. We went out to a New Year's Eve party. This was the first time that we hadn't hosted. We usually have a big game shindig at our home. We've been doing it for about 20 years, and usually have 30, 40 people come over. But this year we were invited somewhere else, and we decided to shake it up. We went over there, played a little bit of code names. We played roll for it. We had kind of a bunch of new gamers, but we had a blast playing games till about 1 in the morning, and ate too much. You know how that goes.
Yes, today as well.
Yeah. It felt like I ate a whole cow.
Yeah, I won't tell you what it looks like.
How about you, Robin?
Yeah, we had actually a very quiet New Year, but we had a very gameful and buzzing Christmas this year. Normally my dad's over for New Year because his birthday is on the 31st, and this year he decided to stay home and he instead came over for Christmas, so we played games on Christmas instead. Had a wicked time there.
Big fun.
Cool.
Well, we got a
Everyone
few
named apart
things
from me.
to... Barry?
Yes, sorry, you got a few things.
Let's go right into the things that make you go, hmm.
And fade gently. There we go.
Wow, way to go, Lefty. We'll just call you Lefty McGee.
Well, it's really awkward reaching across like that, you know. I'm just like worried about my microphone. I'm knocking my drink over because, you know, left-handed people just have that tendency to knock drinks over. Or drunk people.
Lefties or drunk people?
Drunk people. Sorry, I correct myself. It's me that always, I get my games out and then it's me that spills the tea or the champagne on my games. And so I've only got myself to blame. I wish it was someone else so I can shout at them and say, "You've got no respect! They know where your hand is!" Anyway, we're getting off subject here. That's not something that makes me go, hmm. Something that's been making me go, hmm, is well, there's not much in the news. And the only things that have been making me go is my lack of board gaming over Christmas. I went to England for a bit. Yeah, I spent some time with the family. Played a little bit of Dobble. I can't really play much with one hand. It's been hard this year. Lots of personal things are in the way, unfortunately, for me. But hey ho, I did manage to grab a couple of games of Dungeon Pets with my daughter while she's on the school holiday, which has been great. But that's about it. Nothing really ho-hummy. Ho hummy.
Yeah.
There's things that make me go ho hum, but not
Yeah, I saw you're playing Dungeon Pets. There's been a lot of buzz about that. I haven't played that game yet, but
why is it on your shelf of shame?
it isn't yet. I don't own it, so I've been trying to hold back, but I'm having problems.
Have you tried Dungeon Lords?
I haven't.
Oh, Pets is definitely better than Lords.
Yeah, I agree.
You get to clear up poop in Pets.
And I upgraded mine. I do actually have like wooden-looking poop and food, which looks like food, like meat and veg. I got them from Board Game Extras.
Okay.
.co.uk.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Well, I love Vaddle Shavaddle, so it's probably good. One of the things that have been making me go has to do with the new Asmodee North America. I know a lot of people are aware of this, but the acquisition of Fantasy Flight Games and Queen Games and so forth, Asmodee's taking over the whole world. And there's been a lot of buzz going on about what that's going to do to the retail channel, how that's going to affect online purchasing. A lot of people are commenting and being very verbal and vocal about what's going on. It's kind of interesting, you know, a lot of people are very concerned that the price points are going to go up for online purchases. Someone like myself, we don't have a local game store that generally has much for any current product or affordable product, and not a place that I really like to go to that often. But I do a lot of my purchasing online because I have to drive 50 miles to get to a local family bookstore. But that appears that that's going to be the model that Asmodee North America is going. They want to support more local gameplay, support that outlet. So what have you been hearing about that, Barry?
I haven't been hearing much, I'm afraid. I heard that obviously there was the announcement, but I don't know how it's going to affect. I've got no clue how it's going to affect sales or trends in sales. But I think it's still a good idea in a way because, you know, the store is a good place, as you said, to try things. You can't try things online. You can watch videos online, but that's where it ends, you know. You don't get the real experience. You kind of get like a simulated experience. But it's best to go to a store, try it out, like I actually did a couple of weeks ago before Christmas. So I'll talk to you a bit more about that later.
Well, they're talking about the channel getting expanded. They're seeing a lot of hobby stores opening up, and so they feel that this is going to be kind of a wave of the future, and it's probably more predominant in Europe than it is here. But for a lot of us, especially in rural America, it's difficult to find that outlet. Tom Vassell on the Dice Tower, that's our obligatory.
You said it!
His ears are bleeding. But he had on the last week's Board Game Breakfast show, really talked a lot about this, about really trying to calm people down, I think, a little bit and just relax, let it play out and see that. And I think Tom has some insider information, obviously, with his relationship with Cool Stuff, and they're a very large online presence. Honestly, I don't really think it's going to affect a whole lot because they're, you know, trying to manage and police MAP pricing, that minimum advertised price. It's a nightmare. Some states in the United States don't even allow that type of price fixing. So there's a whole can of worms there. And then if people have extra inventory in their store, they should be able to discount it, or if they run periodic sales. Bottom line, the market, I think, is going to drive this. If the game is good, it's going to hold its price. If it's not as good, people are going to clearance it out. You're going to find sales. Overall, I think you can always find a deal somewhere. So I don't think it's going to really affect it.
I don't actually think it'll affect us at all over in Europe because it's obviously Asmodee North America that's making this arrangement. And although they're going in with the various distributors over there, the main distributor, as I understand it, for Europe is Stevium, who are in the UK.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's always been. So everything's kind of gone through them. And whilst you can buy Fancy Flight games on online retail such as Amazon, I don't think. I mean, they are reduced to a degree, but nowhere near as much as the reductions that you get on some of the online stores in the States.
Well, Imperial Assault, for instance, is a $99 MSRP, and you'll see that at the local stores running about $100, but you'll see it online for $68. Now,
Yeah.
Will that be affected? I'm not sure. If it goes up to $75 or $80, Fantasy Flight, for instance, they're in Target, so they're in some of these big box stores. Well, they're obviously not going to change their pricing structure for those existing relationships. It wouldn't fly. They already got into that outlet. Overall, I don't think we're going to see big. I think people are getting real upset about something that hasn't happened yet. Yeah.
And the statement was so wishy-washy, and the clarification was so wishy-washy and confusing that they can pretty much argue their way out of anything that comes their way should they decide to change their mind, because it is so tenuous.
Yeah, it was very vague, and like you say, there was just a lot of interpretation left there. There was 2 blogs by Christian Peterson that were quite lengthy interviews where he did clarify a little bit of that. I read through those, and bottom line, they want to sell games, and they will sell games.
Exactly.
Precisely.
And worst case scenario, Christian Peterson leaves the States and comes back to Denmark, and then I can buy his games anyway.
Well, before we go on to our good, bad, and ugly segment, I think that's going to wrap up our things to go because we've got a lot of stuff to talk about with Robin. We're going to be having a lot of fun today doing a 2015 overview, or year in review, so to speak, and things that happened in the gaming industry, and Robin's going to chime in on that, and so we want to give some time to that. But we had a competition where we were giving away the Treasury by No Chance Games. This is paper money replacement. Really fantastic linen cards, and it's by No Chance Games. They were so gracious to give this for the show, as well as this wonderful gaming mat by Robert Burt Games. Beautiful dragon artwork from the Draco Magi game. And we have this to give away, and so we've been running the contest, and we went and today picked the winner of that contest. And the lucky winner is Michael Smith.
Yay!
Michael Smith is the winner. You are the winner. You can do it.
It's all up to you, okay?
So congratulations to Michael again. Thank you to Robert Burke and to No Chance Games for the generous donation to the Berkey and Badger Board Game Babble Show. So that's good fun. We may be having some additional ones. Let's go right into the good, the bad, and the ugly.
The not so bad. Alright. And the ugly.
Well, do you want to go through our theme this week, Barry?
Our theme is related to our subject, which is was it good for you? Okay, and we were trying to think of a theme, and we couldn't come up with a theme, so we just went with things which just was that good for you. Here is our good in relation to up and coming stuff from 2015. Star Wars. Was it good for you? We could do a 10-hour debate about that right here, right now, but we're not. Robin, calm yourself, mate.
Hey, Robin, what do you think about Star Wars?
No!
I love Star Wars. Hey, I love Star Wars, and this Star Wars film was the first opportunity I had to see the film or a Star Wars film in the cinema with my kids, one on either side of me. Fantastic, love the film. People stop beating down of it, relax, enjoy it.
Well, I'm right with you, buddy. I've already seen it 3 times, and I would be very happy to spend the entire rest of the show just talking about it.
Okay, I'm going to chime in now.
So,
I'm going to chime in. I'm going to treat it like I treat the new Star Treks. It's not Star Trek, but it's a roller coaster ride, which I'm probably going to like, especially in 3D. But I don't think I'm not going to consider it Star Wars.
No, not 3D. You can't watch 3D films. 3D is just no.
I watched it in 3D once and watched it in 2D twice.
You say that. My daughter and my wife are watching Tour 2 in 3D right as we speak, and I'm missing out.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the good.
You got it in. So the not so bad.
Okay, yeah. Well, sorry. What we should be saying is what this is all about. This is our not so bad. Yeah, we're going to be reviewing a game that we played once, and it'll be like a first impression. Our not so bad is a game which we've played and we thought was not too bad, and would probably play it again, and most definitely play it again. Whereas a good game, we would probably go out and buy and put it into our collection. Right, and then we have an ugly game. After we've played it once, it's one of those games that we just want to burn. And as you can see, Charlie Brown, the film has come out as well. And is it Peppermint Patty?
That's Lucy.
That's Lucy, okay. Lucy's stealing the ball away from Charlie Brown, and he's falling on his butt, and Lucy's saying, was that good for you?
It looked like it was good for her.
Okay, so who wants to start?
Go ahead, buddy.
Okay, I'll start. Okay, recently there was a special event. Wait a minute, just let me draw the picture there. Recently there was a special event at my local gaming store, which is about 30 minutes away, and they had 3 authors in. They had Cyril Leroy, who designed Sapiens. They had Nicholas Sato, who designed Lutus, and another one, Remy Gruger, who designed this game called Harald. Harold Lloyd. Harold Lloyd. It's a very small card game. I won't say any more. I'll just go Harold. Look at the box there of all these animals, and tell me, do you think I think this game is a good, bad, or an ugly game?
Oh my goodness.
Flip the box around a second. Just
I'll flip the box around, and you can see that he's written me a lovely little message.
He's written you a letter. I know. Okay, so.
I'll give you the box.
Well, that's.
So is it just cards?
It's just cards.
Oh, the art looks good.
The art is fantastic.
I'm guessing by the kind of Celtic symbol that it's that they've probably done Norse. Is it Norse animatronic? Is it called animatronic? What's it called?
Yeah, something like that. Animalization.
Yeah. Is it Norse based or Celtic based?
It looks a mix of the both. Yeah, there's some Celtic art on the box, but you know, again, I got a feeling of like Skyrim Norseness.
Norseness.
Yeah. It's beautification time.
Are you drinking menthol tea or something?
It's Listerine.
It's
Listerine,
Vulcan,
yeah.
Vulcan blood.
Mm-hmm.
It's.
Do you want a bit of a description about the game? Because you both look lost.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say that it's good. I'm just gonna go with my gut.
I think you're gonna go not so bad, but it really depends on what you kind of do in it.
Okay, tell us.
Based on the box cover, and I don't know, you don't look like you're. Not so bad. Not so bad.
It is not so. It's not so bad a game. Why have I bought it, even though it's a not so bad game? Is because I like the concept. It's a very small. It's a 66 card game, and there's 6 different types of cards, and you're basically playing you have 4 cards in your hand, and you basically play 2 cards each turn. You play 1 into your village, 1 into the kingdom court, and you activate the power on the card that's put into your village, and then these powers let you swap cards with your village, the Kingdom Court, and other players' villages, or you can take cards from the deck or mix stuff up, or you can flip cards over, which make them nothing. The end of the game, scoring is really interesting because as you take your last turn, every person scores. So you play your last card, you score, and you score for the amount of cards that you have in front of you with the cards which are in the village and then in the King's Court. So if there's like 3 warriors in the court and you've got 2 warriors in your village, you will get 3 points for each of your warriors. There's also a special bonus scoring as well. So if you have more warriors than you have blacksmiths, you get bonus points. If you have more of these or less than those than the others, you get more points as well. And I just find the game really simple, really interesting. I don't know if it's a lot of luck, but it feels like there's probably a really good strategy in there. As you're just playing 2 cards and activating the power each turn, and I like that. It's small, it's compact. Whether it's a great game or a good game or not, I need to play it some more, and I bought it because the author was there and he got to sign my box. And so
now it's beautified.
It's beautified with poor
So
Babble.
Robin, what have you been playing?
Well, the game I played it twice now. It was a Kickstarter that arrived just before Christmas for me, and I played it about an hour before we came on air. So I have actually played a game over New Year break. And it is Burgle Bros by Tim Fowers.
Oh.
It's a 1 to 4 player cooperative game. The question is, what did I think of it?
Ooh. Can I have a look at it some more?
Yep, there's one side of the box,
Which
kind
looks
of
like
Ocean's 11 maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And
This
then
is
it looks like a
building?
tower block with a helicopter pad on top.
There we go,
Ooh.
and the basement as well.
Wow. Well, I don't have a clue on this one. I don't know Robin enough to read him here, so I'm going to just hold off. But
Well, I can give you a little bit more clue if you like. 1 to
Sure.
4 player cooperative game where you have a grid of the 3 floors of this building, and you are playing thieves who are trying to break into the safes on each of the 3 floors and then escape to the helipad on the top of the building. And on each of the floor there is a stairwell where you have to try and get up once you've broken the safe, which has a really cool mechanism in it. There are walls that you set up using little wooden blocks, and there is a guard on each floor who you're trying to avoid capture from.
I'm going to say you think this is good because it sounds like Elevator, the old arcade game, but you're not going down to the basement, you're actually going up to the helipad. And you're my generation of gamer, so I think you might have played Elevator a few times. So I think you're going to think this is good.
oh, I saw his eyes light up when he talked about that, so it's got to be good.
I've never heard of Elevator, so
No.
no. Was it a Commodore game?
No, it was an arcade game. You know, you put like 20 pence in the machine and you played it, and you got levels and floors, and you just got to work your way down to the basement and collect documents from certain rooms. So, yeah. So you think it's good? Why is it good?
I think it's good. I mean, I love co-ops anyway. The fact that okay, as I said before, I really like the safe crack, the way they've done the safe cracking. So on each card, you've got this grid on each floor of 4x4 cards, and one of these, or tiles, and one of the tiles is the safe. And every time you go into the safe, you can use an action to add more dice to this safe. Then for an action, you can roll the dice, and what you have to roll on the dice is you basically have to crack the safe. And as it's a 4x4 grid, and one of the tiles is the safe, that means that there's 3 tiles north and south of that, and 3 tiles east and west of it, in some direction. Each of those tiles has a number on it. Every time you roll the dice, and you roll one of the numbers on the cards that are across that, you can cover it up. Once you've covered up all the cards on that number, you've cracked the safe. Really clever mechanism. I reckon this is a game that people who enjoy co-ops will really, really like, because it's got that level of difficulty. You can ramp up the level of difficulty with it, and I think that it'll unfortunately go under a lot of people's radars, like one of his earlier games did, which was Paperback. So this is the same designer who did Paperback, which went under a lot of people's radars. And I think this is one that, if you can find it, you should definitely pick it up. And I'll just say it was a Kickstarter, and one of the things they did in Kickstarter was they produced a wooden 3D frame for it. Unfortunately, I didn't get it, and I now regret not getting it. But it was a 3D frame, so you could have all 3 floors above each other instead of laid out next to each other on the thing. Really cool. Find it, play it.
That's a great description.
Hey.
Well, I've been playing something that this is actually a reprint by some people I highly respect in the industry. Just a little while ago, I saw a hat come on the screen by Sir Robin of Lees. And this is from the company. Yeah, look at this. See? What a great segue. Stronghold Games. Ignacy Chevicek, I believe, designed this and was instrumental in working on this. And this is a redesign, but this is Stronghold 2nd Edition.
Wow.
Interesting story about this game. I was able to demo it at BGG Con, had a great time just with the initial demo. Right away fell in love with this. This is my kind of game that I would play with my son. Fantastic 2-player, heavy strategy. Just the components in the game are beautiful. The artwork is fantastic. Stronghold Games really did a fantastic job with this. And I already just kind of let it out of the bag, but...
Yes, you have.
Yeah. I reckon you really, really liked it. I reckon, you know what? You should play it with your son, because I reckon the two of you together, fantastic. Yeah.
It's good. Yes, it was good for me.
And if you get it demoed at a convention, that's even better.
Mm.
Yeah, it's nothing like playing a game being demoed because you get the real feel of the game.
Well, the thing that was kind of funny about this deal is that they had 2 games. This game is not supposed to be available till January, possibly February. They had a little bit of delays in production. There was also another game, and it was the first game in Stronghold's Designer Series game, and that was the game Port and Nigra, which I also got to demo at BGG Con. I fell in love with both of these games, and so they had a pre-order where you could get them before Christmas. Well, 3 days before Christmas, they still had not arrived. So I talked to Steven real quick. He always responds to a lot of this stuff. I said, hey, is that game coming or not? And he said, well, we don't know.
Hey, Steven, where's my blinking game, you lying little monkey?
Christmas is ruined.
I'll tell him you said that. A lying little monkey. Stephen Bonacore, the lying little monkey. No,
that's what you really writ, though, wasn't it? That was what you really writ to him. You didn't write, oh, where's my game?
I wish I would have written that. That was fantastic. We can tweet that all day long.
Okay.
No, Steven, he's such a gracious guy, and he cares about his games. I just really have come to enjoy him and really appreciate what he does. And Stronghold, man, this company is blowing it out of the park, in my opinion. They're just doing a great job. But anyway, the day of Christmas Eve, I'm thinking I'm going to have to go to Plan B and get a different game for my son or do something because it didn't come in. And what happens? About 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I get a package, and here are both of the games. And then so over the Christmas break, then we already got to play a game of it, and I held the fortress.
So have you played the defender and the attacker?
I was the defender. He was the attacker. And he's brilliant. My son is brilliant. When it comes to gaming, I've never seen anyone read a rule book and be able to teach that and understand the mechanic better than him. He's amazing, seriously. And he usually kicks my butt at all this kind of stuff, but I felt pretty good being able to hold out.
Yeah, I bet you were quite excited about a victory over Josiah.
Yeah, he's fantastic. But anyway, Stronghold 2nd Edition, highly recommended. If you like that type of strategy game, it gives you almost the feel of the Two Towers, from the Lord of the Rings. And I just had that whole feel, and there was tension all the way through it, and so many different choices, and depending on, it's reactionary type movement. You're reacting to what the other person is doing. And I hadn't played the 1st edition, so this was my first experience. But Love it.
Okay.
Well, that's that. We've done the good, the bad, the not so bad, and the ugly segment, and we're going to get to our guest, Robin Lees. But before we go into our what game is behind the door, we just want to give you, Robin, a few moments just to tell us a little bit about yourself and some of the things you're doing out in the hobby industry, and plug your sites, whatever.
Sure. So I've been a gamer for, well, I've enjoyed playing games since forever. But I don't really remember when I got back into the hobby as it is, because I've been wanting to design games since I was a teenager.
Wow.
I've been kind of following along with Board Game Geek for many years before I actually signed up for an account, which I did in 2008. There are a couple of games that came out around that time which changed the way I could see board games being developed, and changed the way I thought of board games. Pandemic being one example, the idea of the cooperative game, and Dominion with the deck building, so that kind of entry point there, I guess. But I've always been interested in the design of games and the puzzle aspect. I'm really interested in puzzles, and I'm really interested in storytelling. And for me, those are the two elements that combine nicely to design. So I've always wanted to design games, and I've always been kind of having a go at it. And I have a game that's currently signed with a publisher. It's been announced and everything, and really looking forward to the future that brings. But I also have a website called Whose Turn Is It Anyway? We run a podcast called Whose Turn Is It Anyway? And I'm also part of the Spooning Meeples, which is a YouTube channel with Rhiannon Ox and with Zen over in Japan, where we talk about various topics and have a lot of fun doing that. Although both the podcast channel and Spinning Meeples has been a little bit quiet of late. But hopefully there'll be more from them in 2016.
Yeah, especially with this show.
Anyway.
This show will boost you into
I know. That's why
the atmosphere, man. You're going big now. Berkey and Babble have endorsed Robin Lees.
That's fantastic. So yeah, I'm very happy with the stuff that's gone on so far with the watch sites and everything there, and happy that there'll be, I'm working on more game designs as well, so we'll see what happens.
Can you talk about your game designer at all yet, or is it kind of hush-hush?
I can, but I don't want to, and you'll find out why later.
Okay. Because he's got a copy there, I bet. He's just sneaky David.
Tricksy.
He's tricksy.
Well, we're going to go right into the what game is behind the door then, Barry.
Okay. I've just skipped the music. I thought we were already there. Graphic! Come on, baby. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
There it is.
Sorry. Fade gently. There you go.
Hey, that was Funkorama.
That's Funkorama.
Behind the door.
Well, basically, we've got three parts to our game. And one of the things we're going to do, Robin, is we're going to ask you some questions. And one of the first questions we're going to say is, what was the last game that you purchased? And what happens is Barry and I get to ask 5 questions each, and you must answer yes or no. We try to do this within 6 minutes, and we're going to try to guess the game that you last purchased. Now, if it was just this Burgle Brothers one, we probably shouldn't do that one.
Nope. I've got one for you.
You got one ready. All right.
Yeah.
Barry, shoot away, buddy.
Okay. Was this game a Kickstarter?
Nope.
Okay, so it's not a Kickstarter. Why am I trying to write things down? I can't write with my left hand. Anyway.
Come on, left.
There goes the pen.
Is this a co-op game?
Nope.
Okay.
It is not a co-op game.
No co-op. No Kickstarter. I'll write it down for you, Barry.
Okay,
you see
thank
what I'm doing?
I can see your beard moving as your nose is twitching. That's about it.
Like a rabbit.
Listen, I got beard envy again. Come on, why do we keep getting guests with beards? Okay, second question is it a
Smart.
2015 release?
Nope.
Great.
No, 2015. This isn't helping.
So it's not a co-op.
I'm sorry. I thought you wanted me to. Had you wanted me to find a co-op from 2015 that was kickstarted? Well.
Oh yeah. Idiot! You stupid idiot, Stimpy.
I didn't read up what I was supposed to do.
Is this game over? Well, boy, you're in euros, right? Would you say this is a more expensive game or a more inexpensive game?
Yes and no.
I got to say yes and no. So is this an inexpensive game?
Is this an inexpensive game?
Correct.
Yes.
Inexpensive defined as under $30.
30 euros. 20 euros.
Yes.
Yes.
Is it? No.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Third question. Is it a deck builder?
No.
Okay.
No deck builder.
Okay, I've
You
got a
did
good
not have
question.
a deck builder.
I haven't got an idea, but I've got a good question coming. So, over to you, Berkey.
All right. Is this a word game?
It's not a word game.
It's not a word game.
It's not a word game.
We
Okay.
need a chopper. Do it now.
Is it a game that has won or been nominated for a Spiel des Jahres in the past?
Oh, no idea.
He didn't answer yes or no, so you get another question.
Wait, you can go to Board Game Geek.
I'm going to go to Board Game Geek.
Board Game Geek. Let's get some Board Game Geek listening music.
Okay.
Okay. It's not a Spiel des Jahres. Okay, I'm going to give you more of a clue. It's not a Spiel des Jahres game winner, but it was
nominee.
recommended.
Okay.
Recommended?
I'm going to say Splendor.
Nope.
Okay.
Wow. Oh. Does this have a... I haven't played the game, but I have an idea. Is it called The Game?
No, it's not called The Game.
Okay.
Is it based on a franchise?
Nope.
Okay. Bloody hell. Stumped. And now for a musical intermission. Go and get your popcorn.
It's not a deck. Yeah, that's what's called good radio right there.
Yeah, we have to come up with some better questions to narrow this down a bit.
Wow.
Okay.
Is this primarily a card game?
He said no.
Is it primarily a card game? No, it's not
Well, you
primarily
said
a
deck
card game.
builder. Didn't
Oh,
you
yeah,
say
yeah,
deck
sorry.
builder?
It's not primarily a card game.
Donk, there is.
But it's inexpensive.
Code names?
No, I asked if it was a word game. You
Oh,
said
yeah,
no.
yeah. Oh, I've got memory like a fish. I can't write things down. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, but I'm writing them down for you. Can't you see this?
Yeah. Panic camera.
The great Karnak says.
How many are you up to, guys?
That was it. That was 5 questions.
Was that
we
5?
got
Okay.
as many
Let's start giving
questions as we
I
want.
can start giving you some clues if you like.
Okay, I'm going to say. Oh, do I have one more question?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go for it.
Barry, you asked the question, was it part of a franchise, right?
Mm-hmm. You said no.
Is this game made by Asmodee?
No.
Okay.
I bought it on the high street.
Yeah, okay.
I
It's a deck of playing cards.
No,
when
it's
your
not.
dad came over for Christmas.
Nope.
No, okay. No, I give up.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
It's actually made by designers who are more known for Eurogames, but this isn't a Eurogame. It's actually an abstract strategy game. I bought it because it's Christmas time, and so it's a family game.
Ah,
Because at Christmas I like to buy the family a game.
an abstract strategy.
It
That's
plays
a
between
family-
3 to 6 players. And it's a real-time game.
Space Cadets?
Nope. It was published in 2013, and in the States it was released by Z-Man Games.
Z-Man.
Currently out of print, I think, but it was available here on the high street, so I bought it.
Yeah, why not? How many times have I gone through the high street and not picked up a game because it's cheaper or it's there?
I only go to the low street here. I never go to high street.
Low Street or Snow Street?
But Z-Man, huh?
I haven't got a clue.
It's an abstract strategy.
Oh, it's not that thingy of 9, Circle of 9?
Nope.
Okay.
Z-Man.
No, anybody out there got any ideas?
Yeah, I'm
They're all
losing it.
screaming at you. They're all screaming at you.
Yeah. Tell us what it is. We're stumped.
It's called La Boca.
Wow.
And it is a game where you have, there are some cards in it, and on the cards are various squares. And what you have is you have a board, which is a 4x4 grid on it, and there are various blocks on it, and the blocks are all different shapes and sizes and colors. And the card shows you what you have to make, and so you make it. But the trouble is the person who's playing on the other side of the table can't see the same image as you can see on their card. So they've got to try and arrange the blocks slightly differently. And the way it works is your timing, which is why it's real time. When you start doing it, you press the timer, and if you complete it within 2 minutes, you'll score points based on how quickly you complete it. But if you go outside the 2 minutes, you will not score any points. And you score, basically, person who gets the most points at the end of the game wins the game. But you're basically making abstract towers and buildings out of these blocks, colored blocks.
How many cards do you do, or how many rounds?
Well, you do one card each. Well, what you do is everybody plays each other one time, but you also play. So you play each other twice. You play kind of a home and away for everybody around the table. So in a 3-player game, you play
4 games.
No, you play more. You play 6 games.
6 games. Okay.
Oh no, you don't, because you don't play. You don't play yourself. You play 4 games.
It depends if you're good with your left hand or.
I haven't even
with yourself jokes.
I don't think I heard of that game, but that sounds like a lot of fun.
I have. My wife played it once, and she loves it, and I've been searching for it. And it's a semi-co-op because you have to work cooperatively with the other player to get the blocks in the right formation for you, as well as maybe to them.
Yeah, when you're playing, it's semi-cooperative, but in actual fact, you're scoring points independently of each other, so there is an outright winner at the end of the game. And you play with everybody on your team or on the other side. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And very hard to get hold of.
Yeah, and I hope Z-Man bring it out again because it's a really good game. Yeah, I bought the Danish version, which is still available in the shops.
Yeah, but it's a language-friendly game, isn't it? Because there's no
totally
language.
Independent.
Yeah, independent. That's the word. I knew there was a reason we got you on the show because we need people with better vocabularies than me.
Or me.
Or them.
Or I.
Me, myself, and Duplay. Okay, part 2.
Part 2?
Yes.
So,
what's
the question is, what game are you most excited about getting? And the guest has to draw us an image, and we are going to describe it for our audio listeners. We'll do a better job of not having so much dead space there. He really had us stumped on that. I don't remember being so flustered there. I couldn't think of anything.
I think we were just asking bad questions.
My questions were not bad, Barry. Your questions suck, but my questions were awesome.
I was thinking of lollipops all the time.
So I've actually cheated for this question, guys.
Go on then.
I've got something prepared for you already.
Good.
So, are you ready?
Yep. Talk so it comes up on the screen.
Okay. So, this is what I'm showing you, and you can describe it to your radio listeners.
So we've got a Sherlock Holmes hat, and we've got a pipe that looks like Holmes's pipe and a magnifying glass. And then there's some Roman script, the CCXX1B. Oh, wow.
Ah, yes. It's 22, isn't it? No, it's not 22. 22 Acacia Road is the home of Eric, who turns into Banana Man.
Oh, he's quick.
Oh, very good.
CC in Roman numerals is 500.
So it's 1,000. And
But I was thinking that the B is the address of Sherlock Holmes. In Roman
Baker
numerals.
Street.
Yeah, Baker Street. I thought it was like 22B or something like that. Yeah.
Close.
Oh, yeah. What is that?
22 would be XXI.
It's
222. 221 Baker Street. Yeah, B. 221. Okay, so
221
what,
Baker Street.
so what game would that be with Roman numerals? Is it like an alternative version where Sherlock Holmes is in the Roman times and he's got a toga instead of...
Well, he's excited about getting this game. Okay, travel on the road, street.
He's drawn an arrow and a road.
One-way street.
This is a game which is coming out soon. Or is it a game which is out which you haven't purchased?
It's going to hit the street. He was just talking about the game that he designed that he's excited about getting because his game is getting ready to come.
There we go. The reason why I didn't want to talk about my game earlier is because my game is, and this is why it's a bit of a cheat, the game I'm most looking forward to so far this year, it is now this year, isn't it, 2016, is hopefully the release of my game Beyond Baker Street.
Beyond Baker Street.
Which is why I didn't want to talk about it earlier, which is Beyond Baker Street. So,
well done, Kevin.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh,
thank you, Mike.
Nicely done.
I can understand why you were excited about that. Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about it.
I had so many other games I wanted to choose from, but in the end I thought I'd be a little bit self-indulgent there and go for one
be self-serving. We are.
That excites me personally, and it does excite me because it's quite a big thing, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Tell us about it a little bit.
So, unsurprisingly, it's a cooperative game for 2 to 4 players, where it's made up basically of a deck of cards and a couple of tracks and a couple of tokens. And what you do is you are dealt a series of clues, and the clues are cards. And you also have in front of you have a case. The game comes with numerous cases, and to solve the case, basically, you have to prove, beyond any reasonable doubt, that the motive, what the motive is, who the suspect is, and what the opportunity was. And the way you do that is by having other cards laid out, and those cards have numbers on them, and they also have icons on them. And basically you have to match the icons on those cards and the numbers with icons and numbers on your cards. And it's a cooperative game, and here's the catch. The catch is, much like another or various other games we're seeing now, you can't see your own cards. So you've got the what they call the Hanabi mechanism, where you can't see your own cards and everybody else can see your cards and you can see everybody else's cards. You're able to give each other or take up to 4 different actions on your turn, but ultimately you're trying to play cards from your hand to the table to try and prove, by placing the evidence down, that the suspect is who you say it is, or the motive is what it is, or the opportunity takes place where it is. The other thing we have is we have an area called the impossible, because Sherlock Holmes stated that no matter how improbable whatever remains is the truth, or whatever the saying is. It's not quite right, but and so you're playing as characters from Sherlock Holmes mythos, trying to solve this case, or these various cases, before Sherlock Holmes does. Because we've got a track which is tracking how quickly Sherlock Holmes is solving the case, and there's also trying to eliminate red herrings, and you've got to do it in exactly you've got to eliminate exactly the right amount of evidence to prove that these are beyond reasonable doubt, and so on and so forth. And Z-Man, it's a game that we've been developing for 2 years now. It was picked up at the beginning of last year, around about April last year, by Z-Man Games, and it's been in development for a little while. So we're hoping to see it this year.
Yeah.
Wow, that's exciting. And you heard it here first at Berkey and Badger Board Game Battle Show.
But it's no longer Z-Man Games because Z's not there anymore. So
It's Man Games.
Man Games. Yeah. Well, let's move on to our part 3, our third question. And this is, what is your current favorite game? And the one that you're playing the most, you dream about, the one that you think about at night when you're sleeping. And you get to give us 5 one-word clues. And after each one, we get to guess. So this is your current most favorite game.
The first clue then. Cards.
Cards.
Okay, Robin, what kind of gamer are you? You're a cooperative gamer, that's for sure. Cooperative card games. Hanabi.
No.
I'm going to say code names.
No.
Okay.
Next clue.
Aid.
Aid?
As in lemonade or...
As in assist, help.
Okay.
Help. Aid.
Yeah, we could do with some of that. Okay.
Help us, please.
A card game with help.
With help. With aid.
Jeez.
It's a card game with aid. Okay, the Grizzled.
No, it's not the Grizzled.
Not the Grizzled. Bowie.
I say, King, I'm thinking here. Can't you see my brain? It's going. Ooh, let me think. A card game.
Tink.
That noise is great for radio.
Oh yeah.
Lucky I got a spit machine here. No, I haven't got a clue. Next clue. I need some help.
Clue number 3.
Okay. I have to say I was pretty nervous when I watched last episode. You had Mr. Sam Healy on, and he gave you the same clue of cards. He also gave you the same clue as this next one, Quest.
Blood Rage. It was Blood Rage, wasn't it?
It was.
Sam Healy's was Blood Rage. Yeah, unfortunately that's not mine.
Okay, that's my guess.
Because he made me I was getting really nervous when he was doing it. I was going, I'm going to have to pick something else.
Quest cards. Quest. Boy. Yeah, I'm not there. Okay, give us another clue. Clue number 4.
Okay. This one isn't going to be one word, but it'll be enough to... Customize black and white dice.
Black and white dice. Black and white.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we should change the clues to be not just one word, but little expressions. Customize black and white dice.
Well, this is his current favorite game, so this is a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, the champions of Midgard have black and white dice, but they also have red dice.
I'm going to cheat. Where's Board Game Geek when you need it?
Cards, black and white, customized dice. Though.
Oh, unless it's a special edition of Cards Against Helping Humanity.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah. But we've got aid, so there's cooperative probably in it. That Robinson Crusoe doesn't have those. Does it? Does Robinson Crusoe have dice in it like that?
It does, but they're not black and white.
No.
Oh, there is one white dice.
Scream foul. I will say... What have I just looked at? Mage Knight?
Nope.
Okay. Moving right along.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll throw out Rattle Battle, but I don't think that's what it is.
No, it's not Rattle Battle. The last clue. The last clue is Nemesis.
It's a Star Trek game. A Nemesis.
Nemesis.
Wow.
Give me your Brahmian ale, or else.
A Nemesis. The plural. I How can I remember that? Nemesis is the plural of nemesis.
The black
Nemesis.
Okay. I am totally fudged.
This guy put some effort into this thing.
I think he did. I think he literally tore our quiz apart. We're gonna have to scrap the quiz now.
Yeah, let's just scrap the show.
It's great fun.
You don't want people to see this. Nemesis.
I quit. He's our nemesis. Robin is our nemesis. That's
He
it.
is our
We've declared
nemesis.
it.
Robin Lee.
We don't need Will Wheaton.
Who was your previous nemesis?
No, it was Sheldon's nemesis.
How about? I don't think they're black and red though. Is the only problem. But let's say.
Midgar.
No. Come on, the Viking game, the cool mini or not?
Oh, Francis Drake.
No. That's Eagle Griffin. Rum and Bones.
No, sir, it's not Rum and Bones.
Pipped again. So, what is your current favorite game that you like dreaming about, there, Robin?
Okay. Well, I've been flicking a little bit. I've got to say, whilst you've been having a guess, and had you been in the chat, you would have guessed it, or you might have guessed it, because one of our viewers did guess it in the chat.
I didn't see it.
And he guessed it on clue 3. The answer, gentlemen.
Hey, next time tweet me individually, would you guys?
Wait, so what is it? Warhammer Quest or Ghost Stories?
Warhammer Quest, the adventure card game.
Oh yeah.
The Fancy Flight game by the Sadler Brothers. And yes, you're right. It is a cooperative game, and it's really a game that So I heard about it first on the Rolling Dice Taking Names podcast.
Yeah,
Marty and Tony were talking to the Sadler Brothers about the game, and the minute they started talking about it, pretty much soon after, I had to look it up straight away on Board Game Geek, and I immediately went out and ordered it. It's really cool. It basically does what Pathfinder the adventure card game does, but in a more streamlined version. A lot of people compare it to the Lord of the Rings, the adventure card game, or the LCG, or the what's the one, Death Hulk, I think it's called, the Death Angel.
Death Angel, yeah.
Which is the other 40k one that they have going on. And basically you're going out on quests, or you can run it over a campaign. You take on the role of a fantasy character, either a Way Watcher or an Ironbreaker or whatever they call these guys. Basically a ranger, a barbarian, and a cleric, and a mage, and you go on these quests, and it just really works for me. It's such a good little game. The only complaint, if I have to complain about it, that I have, well, two. One is it's extremely difficult to win, but I like that in a cooperative game, because then otherwise, if you just solve it, then there's no challenge. But the other thing is that the amount of replayability, there's plenty of replayability because they've got this extra quest in there which allows you to replay what's in the box. But I want more. I'm already ready for more. But yeah, it's a really cool questing game. If you're into fantasy, if you're into kind of those kind of role-playing games without having to gather everybody together and do a role-playing game, and if you're willing to put the story together and stuff like that, you can have a lot of fun playing it.
Now that's Fantasy Flight, isn't it?
It is. It's a Fantasy Flight game, and it was released, I think, in December, and maybe in November.
Well, rest assured, there'll be plenty of expansions for you.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I hope it sells enough that they do.
You just won't find them at a discount on any online stores.
There we go. Everything ties together.
Oh.
Well, I tell you what, Robin took us down 2-3. That's crazy.
Yes. We do not know him that well. Maybe
We have the feeling that you. We will have to teach him a lesson.
Yeah.
We'll take care of him in the Babble topic, and that's what's next. The Babble, and our topic is, was that good for you, 2015? Old Lefty's getting his music ready.
Babble, 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 Berkey and Badger's Board Game Babble.
Yay, well done, Barry.
I got there with one hand. Woohoo!
Well, we're going to talk about all kinds of different things, but really it's kind of a year in review topic on the Babble. And we're going to talk about what happened in 2015, and there's a lot of great topics that we wanted to talk about. Barry, go ahead, and why don't you just give us an overview of some of the thoughts you had regarding this topic, and then we'll just jump in it and go back and forth.
Okay, yeah. Was it good for you? I mean, everybody's doing this kind of topic now. Was 2015 a standout year? Was it a normal year in gaming? Was it a poor year? What are the things that affected us personally? I don't want like a kind of overview of, oh yeah, there were 5 more games released this year than the year before, kind of conversation, or you know.
And that's the truth.
Yeah. Just where do we feel the hobby is going? What accomplishments, what kind of things were better about the year? Was Kickstarter stronger this year, or was there any like great event which kind of like blew us away, or is there any great kind of publisher which has done something outstanding this year, which you know we would like to see continue in the future years? I mean, for me personally, there's an expansion that came out this 2015, which I'm not happy about, and that's My Belly. It keeps growing and growing, and I can't seem to get rid of it. So 2015 has been a year of getting chubby for me.
I can tell you something that's shrunk.
No, we don't get it.
The wallet.
Yeah,
The wallet
for you.
shrunk.
Yeah.
For me personally, my wallet has stayed the same. I haven't splurged out as badly as I did, say, 3 years ago. I managed to keep it under control, although I did buy more Kickstarters this year than any other year. But it has been a good wallet year for me. So
That's a good thing. Let's talk about Kickstarter for a second. Do you think Kickstarter was stronger in 2015 than in years past? Do you think it was weaker? How do you feel about Kickstarter this year?
From my perspective, as somebody who's backed over 320 projects on Kickstarter,
Oh my goodness.
right, I think that this year actually has been a weaker year, and I think certainly rounding out the year has been pretty appalling. We've seen far more Kickstarters fail this year that have been coming from recognized publishers. People have been far more frugal about what they want to back, and I think that's because the public are becoming, or the gaming public are becoming wise to what's going on in the world of Kickstarter now, and being much more selective about what they want to back and how they want to back it, and it's had a knock-on effect. But I think that'll be a good thing in the long run, because it'll mean that the project managers are going to be much more selective about what they put up there. And what we have seen over the previous years is that Kickstarter has gone from this initial idea of being a place for the solo or small player to launch their dream, which is what it started as, to being this money-spinning machine for existing companies. And although Kickstarter still believe that they are holding true to their original mission, that's not been the way that the board games have spun this phenomenon that has been Kickstarter, and it has affected the board game industry. But I think this year will be a turning point where people will become more selective. And I mean, as I said, I've backed over 320 projects since 2012, since February 2012, and
show times for tonight.
This is the first time right now that.
Sorry.
What show times are you after?
Oh no.
Yeah, this is the first time that in since February 2012 where I haven't been backing a Kickstarter campaign.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, you had me at frugal. I'm totally thrown by frugal. But for me, this has been a year that I've spent the most. I've backed 5-6 projects on Kickstarter this year, which is more than normal. Normally it's just one. But
I do that normally in a month.
yeah, that's why my wallet is still kind of full. Yeah, I found the projects this year a bit more compelling than previous years. There's the normal kind of zombie side. Okay, if you've got the base game already, buy this expansion, and you can also buy the base game from the previous Kickstarter. But this year there's been some great compelling games, and I've been lucky enough to play them as well as prototypes, and they kind of really shine. If anyone wants to know what those projects are, it's Conan and Seventh Continent. They are fantastic games to play, and I am very anxious to get hold of the actual copies of those. Conan should be soon, beginning of this year, and I think that's the great thing. Again, you said frugal. I think that's right. I think people have been tricked. There have been campaigns. There's lots of campaigns coming up all the time, which is good, but at the same time, it's great that not all of them get successfully funded, because then that's good that maybe it is really poorly put together and they haven't really thought about it and they haven't put enough into it.
But it means the cream of the crop are going to be the ones that get funded.
Yeah, which is what personally I want. I don't want to have 6,000 games come out every year and have to dredge through them all to find the good ones. It's better if there is 2,000 games a year and most of them are good, and then you don't have to dredge and you don't have to put on your high waders and your rubber marigolds.
You know, for this year, for me with Quick Kickstarter, I thought was one of the overriding themes, I think, is that it was kind of a blockbuster year. You know, of course, we had Star Wars, The Force Awakens comes in. It was a blockbuster. Was it the best year in movies? I don't think so, but, I mean, we've had some blockbusters. Well, I think you can carry that over into Kickstarter. I mean, you had games like Scythe and games like The Others from Cool Mini or Not. You know, what that raised, $1.8 million, and Scythe was close to $1.8 million. Blood Rage. Mare Nostrum was hugely successful. I think Carson Big Box, Carson City Big Box was pretty. That's one I backed. Orleans. So for me, when I don't do very many Kickstarters at all, but I think I did about 5 or 6 this whole year. Fantasy Coins LLC had a very successful campaign. So to me, it was kind of blockbuster-ish.
It's interesting that a lot of them are doing that, where the big games are funding, and they're funding a lot. So you got those blockbusters where they're making. I mean, just looking at Gameling Games' Tiny Epic series, which are these tiny little boxes that are cost, what is it, $12 or whatever to back, or $15, whatever it is to back, and they're making hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars each time, and they are therefore blockbusters compared to what you're getting, what the product is. They're hugely successful, and yeah, you're absolutely right. There are these blockbusters coming out. The only question I'd have with that, though, is, or not necessarily with that, but if you look at the end product, so a lot of those games that have funded big time in the past year, they won't actually be available, hopefully, until later this year, but might even get delayed into 2017.
True.
And that's, I guess, where where Kickstarter begins to fail a bit. Because has it been a great year on Kickstarter? Well, theoretically, yeah. Or theoretically, no, but we can't actually tell for another year or so. So if you look at the actual games that have come out this year that have been funded in previous years on Kickstarter, then there's another angle you could look at it from that perspective. And I mean, not that many have come out. And well, yeah, I guess you've got Fifth Street Games who went bankrupt this year, and that was a terrible thing for the Kickstarter, both for the owner himself, but also for Kickstarter on a whole, both image-wise and the fact that backers were unable to get their products.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder what the actual totals were from 2014 in the gaming industry versus 2015, if the numbers were overall up. I didn't research that, but
Of Kickstarters launched, or of Kickstarters backed, or financed, or how do you mean?
funded,
Or published?
Funded. Yeah, actually funded.
Yeah, I don't know. I imagine it's probably more, but as I say, it depends. Because the other thing I think is if you're looking at those blockbusters, the Cool Mini or Not games and stuff like that, where people are, and combine that with the fact that people are being more frugal, and these specifically Cool Mini or Not are using this idea of having add-ons, and so they're requiring people to back at a high or medium to high level, but then add on extra and extra and extra. It's the same with Seven Continent and Conan. They also did the same thing, having to get all these add-ons into it. So people are also having to watch what they spend on other projects because they're saving their money for these big-time hitters. I mean, look at Blood Rage. I'm kicking myself now that I chose not to back Blood Rage, and now I can't get the exclusives.
Exactly.
And so people are going to now be aware of that and save their money until the next Cool Mini or Not game comes on there, just to back it. I mean, that's the reason why I back the others. The gameplay I'm fairly unknown of. I've watched a couple of videos of Eric Lang teaching it, but on the whole, it was, okay, it's another Cool Mini or Not game, let's put in the money there.
Yeah, exactly.
Just for those extras.
Excuse me.
Sorry, I'm colder than you, Barry. I'm colder than you.
Yeah, sorry. Talking about blockbusters, the big companies like Fantasy Flight are the big blockbusters without the Kickstarter behind them. One thing that I've always admired about Fantasy Flight is their quality in kind of the words are escaping me. In their publicity of their games, they do these really fantastic little 2-3 minute videos explaining their new game, which is coming out with these super graphics, which would make Paul Grogan dribble terribly. but he's near enough that kind of level anyway. But they do these fantastic marketing things, and they have this really nice website which is easy to access and everything. And I think that 2015 has seen a lot of companies jump to that kind of level of advertising and quality of website as well. So for me personally, 2015 is good in that respect. Game companies are starting to grasp the fact that to get their game out there, they need to do some kind of blockbuster trailer to get this game known and out there, unlike just trying to give it to Tom and then Tom just going, this is the game, this is how it plays. Oh, this is what I think about it. I said, Tom, no!
I'm not so sure I agree.
Go on.
Yeah, they do that. But this year, they've done something which I haven't seen them do in previous years, and that is provide reviewer copies of games to reviewers, like Tom, like I believe Joel, Eddie has received some in the past this year, which they haven't in previous years.
Yeah.
But I don't think Fantasy Flight is a company that have ever needed to do that. They can sell their games pretty much on the quality of production alone. Mm-hmm. If you look at their box covers, they're always lavishly designed with wonderful painted artwork, and then if you look at the back of the box, it's always got that wonderful layout of the game components and list of the game components and what sleeves you need to buy for it and a description of the game, and the production quality on Fantasy Flight is top-notch, always has been.
I think you misunderstood me. What I was saying is other companies are starting to hit that kind of level of Fantasy Flight do with their publicity and quality of website and everything. So for me personally, 2015 is a better year for these smaller companies or medium weight companies for polishing up their act and making these games known before they come out, with some very nice graphics, some very nice videos, and not just, as I said, giving them to a board game reviewer to make his own video to publicize their game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's the fact that they've built up this track record where, Fantasy Flight's notorious for not really letting things out when the release date is, or when it shows up. Everybody is already geared up because they already know the quality of what's going into it. But they're notoriously secretive about street dates. They don't do a lot of the big pushes for okay, this is going to be released at this time, where some of the other companies are doing that because it's kind of a no-brainer almost when they bring it out.
Mm-hmm. Well, the other thing that's happened this year, we're starting to see more and more of, and I think will continue in 2016, is the acquisition of smaller companies. We saw the melding of Greater Than Games and Dice Hate Me Games becoming one company, and we've seen, obviously, there was Asmodee buying Fantasy Flight and Days of Wonder acquisitions earlier at the beginning of the year, and I think that'll happen more and more throughout the next year. I think we'll see a few more companies go that way.
What do you think about gaming conventions and how gaming conventions have started to get more notoriety and maybe even increase in 2015 over past years?
I think it's hard to comment on.
Yeah.
Because for me, I only go to Essen, so I can only really comment on Essen. But I mean, from what I see in the media and on Twitter and on Facebook and various sites like BGG, certainly the ones in the States that I've been privy to through that have seemed to increase and grow in popularity. And you can see just with the announcement from Gen Con that they're going to move into the stadium nearby.
Yeah, exactly.
To grow.
And the increase in the numbers, last year was near 69,000 people and over 200,000 turnstile entries. And so was Essen larger? Was Essen more grandiose this last year than the year prior?
Yep, I think so. But not as much. I think the growth wasn't as big as the growth over at Gen Con was in relation to previous years. But it's hard to tell because they count their turnstiles differently. Essen is based on sale tickets, and then so every time you go through, you count it.
Overall size of the convention itself, was there more vendors, more grandiose?
So they expanded to an extra hall this year, where they put a lot of foreign stands were in Hall 7 this year.
Well, Americans.
Yeah, it was mainly American stalls, yeah. And then they even had a separate hall, which goodness knows why they didn't do it, but they should have had for open gaming the rest of the time when it wasn't being used. But they had a Settlers of Catan competition.
That was annoying.
I think the thing that we're seeing in the United States anyway is we're seeing a lot of smaller cons growing in stature, and other cons even popping up. I mean, Grand Rapids, Michigan has a con that's growing. There's one Gateway of the
Gateway.
Yeah, is growing. BGG Con was over 2,500 people, and they had to open up a family one in May. Dice Tower Con last year had a little over 1,000 people. This year, 1,500, and it was sold out in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And again, in France. Sorry.
Well, I'm just saying it seems that the appetite for conventions is growing, and like Origins last year had a huge surge as well in the numbers from like 10,000 to 16,000. So exponential type of growth. And so I think that's going to say that 2015 things that definitely are on an upturn when it comes to conventions.
Yeah, and again in France, the conventions, there's more and more of them popping up. Every year, there's one here, there's one there, they're really small conventions. Some of them are only about 30 tables of games, and it's just people that represent Yellow and Asmodee and things like that. But again, there's some of these smaller conventions that I went to a couple of years ago, which have now got like the authors there, and I mean not the heavyweight Bruno Cathala, but the medium weight guys behind the scenes, and I think that's great. That the conventions definitely this year there's been a numerous amount here, and again they're starting to get notoriety, and they're starting to bring in the names behind the games as well. So we're not just playing with demonstrators.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, what do you think the industry has done differently in 2015 than before? Do you see anything that's new and innovative?
I see that games are no longer just a cardboard board, dice, pieces, and cards. Board games now are starting to evolve into other things. There's games which require particular components. For example, Potion Explosion has a delivery system for putting your marbles in. There's other games which have special items and totems that you need to play their game. There's games which have apps which you need to use. There's a game coming up next year which uses your phone as a playing piece on the board. It's incredible. This year I've seen quite a few games which are more and more distinct due to the fact that they just, as I said, they don't use the full basic things: boards, cards, dice, and pieces. They start to use their own components and make their own things. In the interiors of boxes, the interiors of a box. Yes, sometimes you use them as a platform to play your game on, but now you're starting to see them as a way of saving your game, which is great. Time stories. You think you stop your game because it's getting late. Oh, let's put it away. It's a game save. Fantastic, and I like we've seen a lot of ingenuity and new ideas come in 2015, and that's great. And I can't wait to see what 2016 will do in that respect.
Yeah, I didn't. You know, I just got to play Flick 'em Up off of my shelf of shame, and so, but there again, 3D gaming. Games that have a 3D element, like you're saying, Potion Explosion, Colt Express, and these components that are popping, and even the level of componentry in the games. Even it seems like we've always had miniatures, but it seems like miniature have really exploded into really incredible miniatures. You know, you look at Fantasy Flight's Forbidden Stars and Blood Rage and these different games, they're just fantastic. So technology is having a play in that, and then also gamer taste.
I think innovation in design as well is also bringing out the new bits and pieces that are required in that box instead of just your plain tokens. Plain tokens. Yeah, 504. Sorry. Having a moment.
I think there have been some interesting kind of design strategies from designers. They're having to push themselves way beyond what they have in previous years to really get noticed and to sell the games. And I think 504 is an example of a game that was, I don't think anybody has said it's the best game ever, but they've all said that as an innovative idea of testing what the waters are and how to design a game, it is very much so a kind of hey, now somebody's done that, now we don't have to do that, but at least somebody has done it kind of thing. And you mentioned, Barry, that the old World of Oh, whatever it's called, with the iPhone, using the iPhone as the ship, as the playing piece, what have you, or whatever phone it is. And strangely enough, I mean, we had XCOM at the beginning of the year, and we've had Alchemist last year using the iPhone. But beyond those three games, World of Yoho, Alchemist, and XCOM, we haven't seen that many other phone integrated games, and I'm wondering if that was just a kind of a one-off type fad, or if there are going to be loads more next year, and it's taking people time to develop them.
It's taking people time to develop them. I've seen here, there's been adverts on telly for Scotland Yard. You know the old game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Scotland Yard, the game that you won't like, Berkey. Okay, but they have a version here where you use an app, and the villain uses the app to hide their secret movement on the thing. And so that's an old game, which is now using an app. Also, recently, Plaid Hat Games.
Plaid Hat, of course.
Yeah. They've got the app which reads the cards to you, the Crossroads cards, which I think is fantastic, which is what we need these apps to do.
And hopefully they'll even integrate the Spectrops game into that.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's great.
I think it'll happen.
Yeah, I definitely think there's been a lot of innovations as far as actual games that are out there in 2015. If you were to rate, last week we did our show that was kind of a top 10, if you will, of good, bad, and ugly, and we talked about our top 5, our top kind of my not so bad were actually more of a top 10, latter half of the top 10 for me, and then a couple ugly that we was so. But if you were to rank your top games of 2015, compare them to 2014, how would you think? The reason I'm asking that question, I was just listening to one of my favorite podcasts. I've got several of them out there. Love Marty and Tony from Rolling Dice taking names. And
they're watching.
They're probably watching.
Yes.
And then look at this. Hey Marty, take note. I got a Dukes of Dice T-shirt. Yeah, Sean Ramirez, Dukes of Dice. Anyway, they were talking.
He wants one of your T-shirts.
Secret Cabal, just send it this way. I'll send you my address.
I'm happy. I got my. He's turning it anyway.
You got a nice card there, really nice.
I know.
But they were talking about how the games compared with BGG ratings versus how they felt about this, and the discussion that the Dukes of Dice had, Sean and Alex, I thought was really a fantastic discussion about this and how they compared the two, because there was actually more games in 2014 that made the top BGG list than there was in 2015. However, some of those have just recently been released and are starting to move up. I thought it was really interesting discussion. Really, I don't know if you can quickly give us your top 5 games without really describing them a lot of 2015, Robin, but if you want to do that and then compare it.
Okay, I strangely enough, I have in front of me a list of my top games as luck would have it. And well, I mean, talking about how good this year's been compared to 2000, I thought 2014 wasn't a great year at all for games. But my goodness me, choosing a top 10 in 2015 has been a nightmare. I mean, I keep going, I should add this one, I should add this one, I should add this one. What about this one? And then remembering more and more games that should be on the list. And your top 10 suddenly becomes a top 20, and you're wondering why game X, Y, or Z is suddenly your 13th favorite game, and you look at the list and there's so many other games that are just that inch above it, and yeah, it's been an amazing year for games, I think, for the quality of good games. So yeah, I've already talked about the one I'm currently talking about or thinking about a lot, which is Warhammer Quest, the adventure card game. So that was at number 1, but it's the way I did my list was, first of all, I looked at all the games on BGG that I played this year that then came out this year and compared them, and then what I did was I looked at those and said, okay, which one right now do I want to play most, and rank them based on how much I want to play them right now today.
Yeah.
And that's the only way I can do it, because there are so many good ones. I mean, I missed off, an example of ones I missed off Mombasa, Orleans, Grizzled, Seven Wonders Jewels off there, Codenames is off, and then you've got games like number 2. My number 2 is Roll for the Galaxy, which came out all the way back at the beginning of the year. Some might even say the end of last year, but for me it was this year. And that's number 2, just because right now I'd rather play this. Number 3, Pandemic Legacy is my number 3. It's not higher because I find it hard because of the way I'm playing Pandemic Legacy at the moment to get it to the table. Otherwise it would be higher. 4 for me right now is Ashes, because I really love that game. Gorgeous artwork. And any other year could have been top of the list. Elysium is my number 5. Amazing game. Amazing design of a game where you're trying to do things. Number 6, Tojo-kun, which was my hidden gem at Essen, which very few people have heard of, but yeah, it was a great game. 7, Discoveries. 8, Star Wars Armada. 9, Voyages of Marco Polo. 10, Celestia. Orleans, Mombasa, The Grizzled. What else do we have? Goodness only knows. There are just so many great games this year. I mean, there are plenty that I haven't even played yet, like Food Chain Magnate, which people are talking about, and big games like that. Which okay, there's a game that I haven't played, that I have played that's not on the list. Time Stories. People are loving Time Stories. Unfortunately, didn't do it quite so much for me. But despite the fact that it's cooperative and despite the fact that it's got a huge puzzle element, it didn't make my top 10, because this year has just been fabulous.
So thick. Yeah, I just watched this morning, funny enough, Tom Vassel's top 20, the 2010 through 20. Yeah, I know I said it again. Barry's ears are bleeding. But I mean, that was his point. There was his 10 through 20 in any other year, he felt could be a good top 10 in any other given year. And that's the way I feel this year. You know, for me, Blood Rage was my #1, and I can't. I'm just like you, Robin. I can't wait to play that game. I played it 9 or 10 times, and I still want to play it.
Yeah.
Baseball Highlights 2045. Man, I'll sit down with anybody and play that right now. I mean, I just love that game. Champions of Midgard, Orleans, Forbidden Stars, Codenames, Marco Polo. Man, I love Marco Polo.
Mm-hmm.
People were kind of, there were some that were a little bit negative on it with the player powers, the feeling that the game wasn't balanced. I think it's fantastically balanced.
Those player those player powers are crazy how they're out there. But the thing is, you look at yours, and this is what Tom was saying as well. You look at yours and you think, oh my God, that's incredible. That's so incredible.
Exactly.
Outbalanced. But you look at the next one and you think, but wait, that one.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then you look at the next one and you think, no. That one's even better, and they're all just so out there that it kind of balances itself out. So people are saying that they haven't experienced it correctly. They're not thinking,
It balances out like Cosmic Encounter. You know, you can see that maybe that power is useful for them. Maybe I should block that action. So, yeah. For me, 2015 has been I wouldn't say a great year. I must have played every kind of meh game that was shoved under my nose. I'm looking through my list of games for 2015, and there's probably about 5 which would probably squeeze into a top 100. But there's a lot of them are just meh games, and there's some. I've just had bad luck. Well, maybe my taste has changed, and I'm just fed up of playing dice rolling worker placement games. But I'm not. Because there are some good ones out there, like Kingsport. But I didn't find Marco Polo again. Yeah, that's not. That's close to being a very good game for me. Yeah, my top games are New York, Potion Explosion, Crossings, the Bois de Corsu, which you know about, Robin. But a lot of these games were kind of meh. The Boomtown Bandits is meh. Dark Seas and Curse of the Black Die, meh. Game of Gnomes, meh. Mysterium was okay. Octodice was pants. Rise of Power is okay as well. Rome Rise to Power. Starfighter is pretty good, but it's a meh game. A lot of these meh games are games which are going to need lots of play to see if they are going to be good and if they offer some long-term kind of replayability or strategy. And so for me, 2015 is yeah.
Well, I think it speaks probably to the sheer number of games that are coming on. That has to speak to something about 2015, just the sheer number. And
as I said, wading through all these games, trying to find these good ones is a nightmare. You just have to wait for some reviewer to say, this game is the best game! Get Time Stories! No!
Well, and I think that's why I would call 2015 the year of the blockbuster game. Because there were so many blockbusters. Pandemic Legacy, #1. I haven't played it yet, but #1 on BGG, on the Board Game Geek list already. That's incredible. Congratulations to those guys. You know, Twilight Struggles finally been knocked off, but that's crazy.
You're more happy that Twilight Struggles has been knocked off than Pandemic Legacy being on there.
No, Well, I'm ambivalent about Pandemic Legacy because I don't really like regular Pandemic.
No,
it's okay. But Sean from the Dukes of Dice, he doesn't like Pandemic, and he says he loves Legacy. So I'm probably going to give it a shot and go for it. But you know, part of that has to do with game group. But Blood Rage, Time Stories. I mean, these are blockbuster games. Codenames. I mean, how many hundreds of thousands of copies is Codenames going to be selling? I mean, yeah, it's a quick little party game, but this is a blockbuster type of year.
Especially if everyone buys 2 copies of Codenames like you do. Yeah.
I bought 4.
You
I
bought
just added
4?
2 more. Yeah, 2 people we were playing New Year's Eve wanted them, so I added it to my cool stuff list.
That's
$12.99. $12.99 on cool stuff. There you go. Cool stuff. Send me something for that. That's going to take you worldwide.
copy of Codename.
Worldwide. France, Denmark. Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay. Do you have anything to add, Robin?
I don't. Not really. I'm thinking about what you're saying about Pandemic Legacy actually, and I'm really chuffed that it's gotten to #1. Not because I've got anything against Twilight Struggle, because I like Twilight Struggle a lot. I think it's a very good game, and I'm just I'm happy to see something else get there because it's just a change. But more importantly, that I'm very curious to know if it'll still be there this time next year.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because it's one season, because it's got that limited playable. Okay, you can play it on your customized board without any spoilers at the end. I've only played 1 month, so I can't really talk about it. But at the end of the year, of the 12 games or 24 games or however many you last through, whether the game will still be as popular as people say. And the other thing I have to say about popularity on Board Game Geek is, whilst it's not true of maybe the #1 game and then the top 10 listing there, with regards to the hotness on the side panel of Board Game Geek, the way that's calculated is the number of hits that the page is getting. And the issue I have with that is that you can have a game that has the worst written rulebook in the world, and it'll get to the top of the hotness because people don't know how to play the game. So the first thing they do, they can't get the answers from the rulebook, so they go onto BGG and look up the game to find out how to get the game played. And that's causing it to cause hits on the game and get up the hotness. And that is broken.
That explains a lot.
That is broken.
Or someone makes a really funny video on the channel, and the only way to find it is to go through Board Game. No.
Hey, that's how we got our game to the top of the hotness, or top 2 of the hotness.
You kept looking at your how do I put these rules?
It was because Rado did a review for the game, and people kept clicking on it to find out what it was after his review.
When we were at BGG Con, there was a very aggressive board game designer out there promoting his game, and he was getting people to go and punch in that while we were at the convention. I had an opportunity to play the game. This game is not the hotness. I'm sorry, but because he was so aggressive with marketing it, it was able to get there. It didn't last, obviously because of what it is. But
yeah, thank God.
It was it was very interesting. So tell us. We probably got to wrap up the show here just because of length. But overall, 2015. Would you say 2015 is a good gaming year for you? Good with things that you're doing in the industry, all of that type of thing.
For me personally, massive year for me. For me personally, the first of all the games I've talked about before, great amount of games, great quality of games that came out, the standard of them, the production quality, so on and so forth. We had another fantastic year on the podcast and on the website this year for Whose Turn Is It Anyway. I took part in the Alaboom, which is with Lance Meister and people like that. I've been doing Spooning Meeples this year, which has been great fun. I was Geek of the Week in March of this year on Board Game Geek, which was fantastic. And of course, the biggest thing of me was getting a game signed by a publisher. Fantastic year. What can I ask for apart from next year seeing the actual game published?
I'm trying to clap my hands here.
You're like flippers.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, great year.
I'm joyous about this year. It's been great.
Yeah,
congratulations.
I've had the same kind of great year as well. It started a bit poorly. I forgot about Ludinor, so I didn't go to that. I went to Paris Ludic, and I went there for like 2-3 hours until I had to go to hospital. And then I spent the whole 4 days at Essen, which was fantastic. So yeah, I've had a great year. Of course, meeting you, Kevin. And starting this podcast, it's been fantastic, and just talking to people. I've been talking to a lot more people generally online, and it's been great. And also getting my own club going as well, and that's going well, slowly, surely, but it's been great teaching people that don't know anything about board gaming apart from the Scrabblites.
Scrabblites, such a good.
these new games. So for me, it's been a fantastic year. Hopefully, it will just continue growing slowly and surely. And yeah, of course, my CD came out last night.
I figured I'd flash that up there because you don't promote your stuff, but this was such a fun CD last night from Balance the Power, and if you want some eerie soundtracks, for playing some of your different games, it's really some awesome stuff, Barry. I thought a lot of your videos the year that you did were really top notch too. Your solo video and Play Catan, and you really did some fantastic work this year.
I forgot about that. Yeah, as you say, I don't promote myself. I'd be no good trying to sell a board game, I tell you that.
Well, I felt this year too for me was just we've been gamers for a long time, but in April we started Board Game Theater and started with the Sheriff of Nottingham and had the opportunity to work with Brian Pope and Scott Morris at Arcane Wonders, and we just had so much fun in that whole idea of us being able to do Board Game Theater. And we didn't produce as many episodes as we were hoping to do for the year. We were hoping to get out one every other month, and we produced Luchador Mexican Wrestling Dice, Sheriff, Star Realms, and then Blood Rage. And our mutual friend Lance Meister came down and actually shot Blood Rage with us in our home. And so I've got to know him, and I think that's the biggest thing. Like Barry, yourself now, got Marty and Tony from Rolling Dice, Sean Ramirez from Dukes of Dice, other people in the industry, Chaz Marler, Sam Healy. Tom Ethel. No, love Tom. And Tom gave us the opportunity to be on the Board Game Breakfast Show to do segments. And here, we're nobody. And he gives us an opportunity to interact with people in the hobby. And I had the opportunity to go to 3 conventions. Went to Dice Tower Con, went to Gen Con, and then Board Game Geek Con, and so I've been able to meet so many people. Suzanne, I mean, she's just fantastic, and she did one of our episodes with us with Star Realms, and she was just happy to help out, and all these people that we've met, owners of companies, fans. I mean, so many people that they recognized us and they remembered when we were doing the Sheriff of Nottingham last year at BGG Con and the experience they had, and we start reminiscing about it, and it meant something to them, and it brought a little bit of joy into people's hearts, and man, that's huge for me. So I'm thrilled about 2015, and honestly really excited about 2016, what's coming up in the future. You mentioned one thing about Tiny Epic on Kickstarter. Just a little spoiler, little insider news. Board Game Theater is working now with Gamelin Games on their upcoming Tiny Epic Westerns. So, listen here, Pilgrim. You might be seeing a little bit more of Board Game Theater.
I'm doing a Matrix.
I'm really excited about that game. It's super fun. And that comes out January 11th. Yeah, I have a prototype, and we're filming actually this coming Monday, and we'll be having a product out January 11th. So.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, big fun, big fun. Lots of other plans in the works. There's some new things coming out from Arcane Wonders that we're going to be helping them with as well, and also with Evil Griffin Games. So. I'm just really pumped. I'm glad to be a part of the hobby. I'm kind of amazed that we're even able to do this stuff. Isn't it fun?
It is. It is indeed. So, wrapping up for the show, we'd like to thank our special guest, Robin Lees from... wrapping up for the show.
Whose game is it anyway? Whose turn is it, show?
Whose turn is it anyway?
Whose word is it anyway? Yeah.
Have you got it written down in front of you in a little card there?
Yeah, I've got it here. Whose turn is it anyway? Robin Lee.
We're here to promote you, buddy.
Card game. Play testing, proofreading, designing, reviewing, podcasting, and nose picking.
That's a skill.
So yeah, we'd like to say a big thank you to Robin Lees for joining us on our show and chatting with us and wasting a few internet minutes. So thank you, Robin.
Thank you very much for having me on. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you, guys.
And thanks for pipping us with your really obscure, weird games.
Wow.
No.
Yeah, he blew it off. Hey, congratulations on your game, Robin. That's fantastic. I'm really excited to hear more about that. So that's awesome.
Thanks.
Review
It's a
copy.
co-design. It is a co-design. So, not just me.
Review copy.
Barry, likewise,
Yes.
it's been a pleasure this year getting to know you more and to produce the podcast with you, and just so excited about the future with what we're planning ahead here too. So thank you again for all that you do for us at Berkey and Badger.
Pleasure, sir. Pleasure, sir. The pleasure is all mine. It's a good fun just hanging out, chatting, and being a right idiot.
Well, with that, I'm so glad we had this time together.
Yes, and here are places that you can find us. Join our Board Game Geek Guild 2248. Who do you appreciate? Board Game Theatre. We have our Berkey and Badger site on Board Game Theatre where you can watch these videos, or you can download the audio podcasts. And of course, we've got our Facebook, so you can just like us because we're likable people. So that's all we got time for. Let's hope the speakers are working, and no, they're not working. Let's restart.
Join us and tell us about your 2015.
Yeah!
We're so glad we had this time together. And now it's time to go. It won't be long until we have another show. So keep us in mind, get online.
Yeah.
Berkey and Badger will be back in no time.
15th.